protecting our kids as best as we can and also understanding the role that they play in this really historical family.
William, the heir to the British throne, reportedly made an unprecedented move. He ordered a DNA test on Meghan Markle's claimed pregnancy. Yes, you read that correctly. The announcement that captivated tabloids and royal fans around the world is now under intense scrutiny. And what the investigation has uncovered could shake the monarchy to its core. For months, Meghan's pregnancy had been celebrated in glossy magazines, analysed in minute detail by commentators, and dissected on social media. Ultrasound photos, carefully staged appearances and insider quotes created a picture of a joyous royal couple expecting their second child. But behind palace doors, whispers of doubt were growing louder. Some insiders claim that certain events didn't match the official story. Documents and anonymous sources suggest inconsistencies that raise one burning question. Was this pregnancy real, or was it a carefully orchestrated performance? The timing of William's decision is also critical. Royal tensions between him and Meghan have long been rumoured, but a DNA test? That's a step most would expect only in a courtroom drama, not inside Buckingham Palace. Sources hint that the test was prompted not just by curiosity, but by pressure from advisors concerned about succession, public perception, and potential scandal. But what exactly did the results reveal? And perhaps even more shocking, who knew about this investigation before it leaked to the press? Social media erupted the moment whispers surfaced. Fans, critics, and conspiracy theorists debated every photo, every public statement, and every interview. Some claimed that Meghan's camp had exaggerated the announcement for sympathy or influence. Others insisted that any suggestion of dishonesty was an insult to the royal family. Meanwhile, palace aides reportedly scrambled to manage the fallout, issuing statements that carefully avoided confirming or denying the DNA test. This story is about more than one pregnancy. It's about power, perception, and secrets buried deep within one of the world's most scrutinized families. Every detail, from the timing of announcements to the choice of media outlets, is part of a puzzle that, until now, has been hidden from public view. But what really happened inside the palace? And why did William feel the need to take such an extraordinary step? By the end of this video, you'll see the hidden timeline, the leaked documents, and the reactions that were never meant to go public. You'll understand how a single decision, ordering a DNA test, could ripple across the monarchy, media, and millions of viewers worldwide. And crucially, you'll discover why the truth behind Meghan's pregnancy might be far stranger than any of us expected. It all started with Meghan Markle's pregnancy announcement, a moment the world watched closely. Social media exploded, tabloids ran headlines, and royal commentators dissected every word. For many, it seemed like a joyous milestone, a continuation of the fairy tale narrative that had captured global attention. But for those observing closely, certain details didn't add up. Why were some public appearances carefully timed? Why were select photos so heavily curated? And why did whispers of tension between Meghan and William continue to surface, even during such a happy announcement? Meghan's pregnancy was never just a personal matter, it was a media event. Interviews, Instagram posts, and official palace statements were strategically released to generate maximum positive coverage. Every appearance, from charity events to formal engagements, was scrutinised. Royal analysts noted subtle inconsistencies, schedules that didn't align with pregnancy timelines, cryptic comments from aides, and unexplained delays in sharing updates. Some insiders began quietly questioning the narrative. Could something have been staged behind the scenes? Meanwhile, William, as the future king, was reportedly keeping a close eye on the unfolding story. Historically, any event that impacts succession or public perception is treated with the utmost seriousness inside the palace. In previous decades, even rumours surrounding royal pregnancies, paternity, or scandal prompted careful internal investigation. Observers now suggest that William's growing concern wasn't just personal, it was strategic. If there was a misrepresentation, it could have ripple effects across the monarchy. Adding fuel to the fire, the media frenzy was relentless. Every photograph, public statement, and casual remark became a talking point. Some outlets praised Meghan's transparency, others questioned her motives. Forums and social media communities dissected timelines, pointing out apparent contradictions or missing days that didn't match official statements. The narrative was splitting into two streams, one presenting a flawless, heartwarming story, and another hinting at hidden irregularities. Behind closed doors, palace staff were reportedly divided. Some advised caution, warning that even speculation could damage the family's reputation. Others encouraged fact-checking and discreet verification. And then came the decision that would shock many, a deistic test. It wasn't just about confirming a pregnancy. It was about uncovering truth, controlling narrative, and protecting the institution. But why take such a public and controversial step? This background shows how Meghan's pregnancy became more than a personal story. It became a high-stakes chess game of power, perception, and secrecy. Every announcement, every photo, and every insider comment now mattered far beyond the headlines. And as we dig deeper, the full complexity of the royal drama will start to unfold. The moment that shook royal watchers, William reportedly ordered a DNA test. Not a routine check, not a casual inquiry, but a full private investigation into Meghan's claimed pregnancy. For the palace, it was unprecedented. For the public, it was explosive. Questions raced across headlines and social media. Why would the heir to the throne question this publicly celebrated announcement? And was there doubt about the very foundation of the story everyone had celebrated? Sources inside Buckingham Palace describe a tense environment. Some aides feared leaks could destroy reputations, while others argued that transparency was the only way to protect the monarchy's integrity. The conflicting reports created an unusual paradox. On one hand, the royal family must maintain discretion. On the other, failure to verify facts could invite far worse scrutiny. It was a gamble that few expected, and everyone noticed. Meanwhile, the media frenzy intensified. Tabloids speculated endlessly. Some claimed Meghan had exaggerated or staged aspects of the pregnancy to influence public opinion. Others insisted that questioning her claims was an attack on her character. Forums and social media became hotbeds of debate, dissecting every timeline, photo, and official statement. Even minor inconsistencies, like the spacing between appearances or subtle changes in statements, were scrutinized. The story quickly became not just about Meghan, but about the tension between palace secrecy and public curiosity. Adding to the drama, anonymous insiders hinted at clashes between William and Meghan's camp. Disagreements over media strategy, public appearances, and messaging reportedly escalated behind closed doors. Some sources suggested that advisors warned William that ignoring potential inconsistencies could have long-term consequences for the monarchy. Could a single unverified claim truly destabilize centuries of royal tradition? The retention loop deepens when considering the timing. William's alleged decision to order a DNA test didn't happen in isolation. It coincided with media leaks, unexpected celebrity interviews, and social media speculation gaining traction. Palace experts argue that these events created pressure points that made inaction impossible. But what did the test actually reveal? And more importantly, who in the palace knew about it before the public? This controversy highlights more than just a question of paternity. It exposes the fragile balance between trust, secrecy, as an image management in one of the most scrutinized families on the planet. Every step, from the announcement to the DNA test, was loaded with high-stakes drama, and the fallout was just beginning. As we move into the investigation and discovery phase, we'll uncover the documents, insider testimonies, and timing that might finally reveal what really happened behind palace walls. As whispers became headlines, the palace reportedly moved swiftly behind closed doors. Sources suggest that key aides compiled a trove of evidence: private medical records, timelines of Meghan's appearances, and internal communications. Every detail was scrutinized to verify or refute the pregnancy claims. But what they uncovered went far beyond a simple confirmation. Leaked documents indicate discrepancies between public statements and internal records. For example, certain claimed appointments and scans didn't align with travel schedules, and some events were supposedly staged for maximum media impact. Insider emails and notes hint at frustration among staff who were pressured to maintain appearances while managing growing doubts. The tension was so high that even routine tasks became political chess moves. Could these inconsistencies indicate deliberate misdirection? Medical staff allegedly confirmed that routine checks were performed, but some insiders hinted that the results were never fully shared with palace decision-makers. Anonymous sources reveal that palace officials debated whether a full DNA test was necessary, weighing privacy against the potential scandal. The choice to proceed reportedly shocked many. Never before had such a personal test been considered to settle a question of public perception. Social media detectives and conspiracy theorists noticed the anomalies almost immediately. Sharp-eyed observers dissected the timing of appearances, the spacing of ultrasound announcements, and subtle shifts in Meghan's public statements. Online, theories spread like wildfire. Some claimed a staged pregnancy to gain sympathy. Others suggested media manipulation, or even a miscommunication between royal aides and Meghan's team. Which version of events could be trusted? One of the most explosive revelations came from leaked communications suggesting that William was directly involved in reviewing documents and consulting advisors about the potential impact on succession. Sources say he wanted certainty before any public confirmation, fearing misinformation could undermine both his authority and the monarchy's credibility. But even with this investigation, some details remain tantalizingly out of reach. The investigation also exposed fractures in trust within the palace. Certain staffers reportedly feared retaliation if leaks were discovered, while others believed revealing the truth was essential to protect the institution. Every document, memo, and insider comment became part of a complex puzzle, with the public only seeing fragments. And yet, these fragments were enough to fuel unprecedented speculation, putting pressure on everyone involved. As we examine reactions and commentary next, it's clear that the investigation did more than clarify facts. It ignited debates, divided opinions, and forced royal commentators to reassess their assumptions. The palace's decision to dig deep into the truth didn't just answer questions, it created new ones, leaving the public and insiders alike on edge. The news of a DNA test didn't just ripple through royal circles, it exploded across the globe. Headlines ran wild, social media went into overdrive, and commentators scrambled to interpret every leak and hint. From London to Los Angeles, reactions ranged from shock and disbelief to heated debate over the ethics of such an investigation. Could the future king really question a highly publicised pregnancy? The question itself became a viral talking point. Royal commentators quickly weighed in. Some framed William's decision as a measured protective step for the monarchy, arguing that accuracy in matters of succession and public perception is paramount. Others suggested it revealed deep mistrust between him and Meghan, painting a picture of a palace divided by secrecy and personal conflict. Was this a matter of fact or power? Social media became a theatre of speculation. Fans defended Meghan passionately, accusing critics of misogyny or palace bias. Others dissected every public appearance for evidence, sharing side-by-side comparisons of photos, event schedules, and statements. Memes, threads, and video analyses multiplied by the hour, turning the story into a global discussion. Even casual observers became amateur investigators, highlighting subtle inconsistencies that mainstream media hadn't yet addressed. Which of these online theories, if any, hold water? Some insider reports hinted at strategic leaks, meant to test public reaction before any official palace statement. According to anonymous sources, advisors monitored the response carefully, gauging whether the narrative favoured William, Meghan, or simply the institution itself. But what the public didn't know was just how high stakes these moves were behind the scenes. Notably, one reaction shocked even seasoned royal watchers. A respected palace aide reportedly leaked that the DNA test confirmed some details, but left others unresolved, fueling further intrigue. Analysts described it as a half-truth moment, a revelation that satisfied neither camp and only intensified speculation. Why release partial information? Was it strategy or chaos? Meanwhile, tabloids and international news outlets took wildly different angles. Where some painted Meghan as deceptive, others framed William as controlling. The polarisation of opinion mirrored the divisions inside the palace itself. Every headline, every quote, and every leaked document became a puzzle piece in a story that seemed far from finished. The global reaction underscored one critical point. This was not just about a pregnancy. It was about trust, secrecy, and control within one of the most scrutinised families in history. And as the palace navigated public perception, the investigation's fallout was only beginning to reshape narratives in ways no one could have predicted. To fully understand the gravity of William ordering a DNA test, we need to look back at royal history. The British monarchy has faced paternity rumours and succession crises before, but rarely so publicly. In the past, SAS whispered doubts over heirs or pregnancies were handled discreetly, behind palace walls, often suppressed entirely to protect the crown. This time, however, the world was watching every move in real time. Historical examples show that questions about lineage were not just personal, they had political implications. Decades ago, whispers about royal children sparked secret investigations, palace memos, and sometimes entire shifts in succession planning. The stakes were always high. A single unverified claim could undermine centuries of tradition and destabilise public trust. In this light, William's decision to order a DNA test was more than a personal act. It was a protective measure aimed at safeguarding the monarchy itself. Legal precedent adds another layer. DNA testing within the royal family is rare, and the rules are murky. Yeah, privacy laws in the UK make unauthorised testing illegal, meaning any test must be sanctioned at the highest level. Sources indicate that William's move was carefully vetted with legal advisors to avoid any breach of privacy or scandalous exposure. But even with legality on their side, the moral and public implications were staggering. Past royal controversies also show the power of media in shaping perception. In prior decades, paternity rumours and disputed pregnancies could be quietly contained. Today, a single leak spreads across social media in minutes, and every journalist, influencer, and fan becomes part of the narrative. The palace's internal investigation, therefore, had to navigate not only legal and historical precedent, but also the volatile court of public opinion. A misstep could become global news before any truth was confirmed. Interestingly, the palace isn't the only institution with historical challenges around verifying claims. Other monarchies and political families worldwide have faced similar situations, where private medical or personal matters intersect with public accountability. Some opted for discreet verification, while others suffered public scandal when doubts leaked. In each case, timing, secrecy, and strategy were critical. Lessons William and his advisors were reportedly keenly aware of. Understanding this context highlights the stakes. William's DNA test was not just about Meghan's pregnancy. It was a calculated decision to prevent misinformation from eroding trust, destabilizing hierarchy, and creating a global scandal. The question isn't just what the test revealed, it's why it was deemed necessary in the first place. As the story unfolded, palace insiders began sharing fragments of information, creating a mix of verified facts and tantalizing rumors. Let's start with what's confirmed. Multiple sources, including medical staff and close aides, reportedly confirmed that routine checkups were conducted. Ultrasound scans were performed, and some appointments align with public appearances. These facts suggest that the pregnancy claims were not entirely fabricated. But the devil is in the details. Conflicting reports quickly emerged. Leaked internal communications point to discrepancies in timing. Some scans, appointments, and photos allegedly did not match the official public timeline. Staffers reportedly expressed frustration over the need to maintain appearances despite these inconsistencies. Could these irregularities hint at deliberate misdirection or simply scheduling chaos? The palace has not officially commented, leaving the public to wonder which narrative holds true. Anonymous insiders have also painted contrasting pictures. Some suggest Meghan exaggerated certain aspects to influence public perception or soften criticism, while others insist that any perceived inconsistencies were innocent miscommunications. These counterpoints highlight one undeniable truth. In a household under constant scrutiny, even minor gaps in the story become magnified. Who can separate the personal from the political? Another piece of the puzzle comes from leaked palace timelines. Analysts claim that some events tied to the pregnancy were carefully orchestrated for media impact. Select photos, appearances, and statements were allegedly scheduled to maximize positive coverage. Yet these same timelines also show anomalies, like last-minute cancellations or unexplained delays. The tension between what was planned and what actually happened fuels speculation and keeps the story alive in public debate. Could the media have unknowingly amplified a private discrepancy into global headlines? It's also important to note what remains unverified. Rumours of pressure on staff, intentional narrative shaping, or strategic leaks remain speculative. While these claims are compelling and widely reported in tabloids and forums, They should be treated with caution. By distinguishing between confirmed facts and speculation, a clearer but still unsettling picture emerges. The palace took extraordinary steps to verify information, including the rumoured DNA test, highlighting both the seriousness and the sensitivity of the situation. Ultimately, this section underscores the complexity of truth in a world of public scrutiny. Verified evidence points to legitimate medical checks and partial confirmation, but counterpoints and leaked inconsistencies raise questions that may never be fully resolved. And this is why the story doesn't end here, because the gaps, the rumours, and the partial truths are what keep audiences hooked. After months of rumours, leaks, and speculation, one thing is clear. William's alleged DNA test shook the palace, the media, and the public alike. While some aspects remain unverified, as the confirmed facts suggest that routine medical checks occurred, timelines were mostly aligned, and the palace acted to safeguard its credibility. Yet, inconsistencies and partial disclosures have left questions lingering, questions that may never be fully answered. What really happened behind palace walls? This saga highlights the delicate balance of power, secrecy, and public perception in one of the world's most scrutinized families. Every announcement, every photo, every carefully worded statement was more than just a moment. It was a strategic move in a high-stakes game. For William, ordering the DNA test wasn't merely a personal decision. It was a calculated step to protect the monarchy, manage potential fallout, and ensure the narrative reflected both truth and institutional stability. But at what cost to relationships, trust, and public sentiment? The public reaction, split between outrage, support, and endless speculation, underscores the evolving role of media in royal affairs. Where once palace secrecy could contain controversy, today's global audience, fueled by social media, demands transparency or at least compelling narratives. Every leak, insider comment, and timeline discrepancy becomes a point of debate, showing how modern royal life is as much about perception as it is about protocol. And in this case, perception may matter just as much as fact. Looking at history, it's clear that the stakes are unprecedented. Past royal scandals over paternity or disputed pregnancies were managed quietly, often disappearing from public view. This time, however, the combination of media scrutiny, global attention, and alleged DNA verification has created a situation that blends personal drama with public accountability. The palace is navigating uncharted territory, where even verified truths coexist with rumours, leaving both insiders and observers guessing at what truly occurred. So, what can we take away from this extraordinary story? First, the palace prioritises both truth and institutional stability, sometimes in ways the public may never fully witness. Second, modern media magnifies every discrepancy, turning minor inconsistencies into global debates. And finally, this saga reminds us that even in the most powerful families, human drama, secrecy, and conflict remain ever present. The story may never be fully resolved, but the lessons are clear. Royalty is about more than titles. It's about perception, trust, and managing truths that the world will scrutinize relentlessly. And for viewers like you, the revelations, leaks, and unanswered questions make one thing certain: the monarchy will never be seen the same way again.